It's December 20th, 2023, and this is going to be my review of the 7th Murderbot Diaries book, which is called System Collapse. This is the 7th book, and chronologically it's the 6th, because they all go in chronological order up until the 6th book, which is actually set before the 5th book, I think. I don't know, it's really confusing and unnecessary. This one is not very long as far as books go. I read it in one day. Has a pretty cover. Unfortunately, the cover and the title both have pretty much nothing to do with what actually happens in this book. And I'm really sorry to say that what happens in this book is a whole lot of nothing. Yeah, this is just a mess, and there's no nice way to put that. It's just a mess. Anyways, you can look at my pins, my funny flatland pin, and my pronoun pin and stuff. And a cat might come over here and get in the frame. But, alright, let's start out with the good things. I have exactly one nice thing to say about this book, and it's that okay, hold on, I should start over. Don't watch this review if you haven't read this book. And don't watch this review if you haven't read the rest of the series, aka the first 6 books that were published before this. Or at least the first 5. Yeah, no, because they're all set before this. Don't, just stop watching if you haven't read these books, and if you don't want spoilers that are not going to make any sense to you because you have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay? Okay, so my first and only positive thing to say about this, like 3 days or so after I finished reading it, is that the inexplicably random bot language, computer language that gets used in book 6, aka, I get the names mixed up. Fugitive telemetry. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. I don't know. The one with the murder on preservation. That one. And that's a whole other complaint I have. But anyways, the only nice thing I have to say about this is that the robot language that was introduced in that book is actually used properly here, in a way that makes sense, in a way that is not obnoxious and just Murderbot in universe being an asshole. And that's what's happening in whichever one that is. The one with the murder on preservation. You know what I'm talking about if you've read it. That's just Murderbot being an asshole. Okay, I'm going to go off on a tangent now to complain about that. Because the reason that Murderbot supposedly started using that inexplicable bot language in that book is because apparently it doesn't like being talked to like it's a human, despite the fact that it literally never used this code language before then, and literally all of its internal narration is completely indistinguishable from any sci-fi human protagonist ever to exist. If we weren't... Oh, Sapphire came over to say hi. A kitten might come across the screen. Nope, she's leaving. If we weren't told that Murderbot is an android, it would just seem like a regular old cyborg from any science fiction ever to exist. You can't tell that Murderbot is an artificial intelligence from the way it's written, because it's not written like an artificial intelligence. So I know, this is supposed to be a review for this one, but I'm reviewing the other one too. Okay. I have autism and ADHD, so you're just gonna have to bear with me or click away from the video. I don't really care. I'm doing this for fun. You'll either have fun watching the video or you can just click away. I don't care. Anyways. Murderbot, in all of its conversations with anyone, in all of its internal dialogue, all of its narration, it talks like a regular person. Just just like any sarcastic, sweary protagonist ever. That's what it talks like. It doesn't talk like an artificial intelligence. If you just gave me these books without the parts where it says, I'm not human, I'm an artificial intelligence, and made me guess if it was human or not, I'd say, yeah, it's just clearly a cyborg. You know, like The Matrix, or literally anything where people interact with technology. I'm trying to avoid going off on yet another tangent. I will resist the urge, because I have stuff to say about this damn book. Where was I? Okay. Yes, we're still on the book with the murder on preservation. So, Murderbot makes a huge big deal in that book while talking to this other robot whose name starts with a T, but I can't remember it. Might be Tellus. Makes a huge big deal about that robot just saying hi or something like that. Like, maybe it said, hi, Sec Unit, how can I help you today? Or something like that. Customer service voice. Just being chill and friendly. And Murderbot decided to throw a little bitch fit and just start using this random code language that we've never seen anywhere, as though being spoken to and being said hi to is like super offensive and demeaning. And the whole thing was extremely absurd, but we're not supposed to think it's absurd. It's not presented as absurd, but it is. And that's a problem, because the whole thing is just Murderbot being an asshole and going out of its way to talk in a way that is literally never spoken before. To do a fucking power move on another robot. And it's just ridiculous. So, in that book, the freaking code language just comes out of left field. No explanation. And it was just a massive, annoying chore to read. Like, it made no sense. It didn't fit with the plot. It was just obnoxious. It was literally just Murderbot being an asshole. And I guess we were just supposed to think it was cool, but it didn't work because it was just really freaking annoying to read. And it didn't make sense and didn't seem to have much thought put behind it. So that was just an epic fail. So this whole tangent comes back around to System Collapse because it's actually used properly in this book. It's used well. It makes sense that Murderbot is using it now because it's using it to communicate with a foreign system that's like at least 40 years old. And we still don't know how old Murderbot is, but that hasn't come up, so that doesn't really impact this. But it's using this basic language code to communicate with a system that it might have no other way of communicating with as far as anybody knows. So that's good. That makes sense. That's point A in its favor for this. The language is also used in a way that makes sense conversationally. It made no sense in the earlier book. Like, if you were twisting your brain about it, you could say, yeah, that conversation made sense, but it didn't really. In this book, it works. It especially also works because clear translations are included after every use of this code language, and even without those, it would have been easy to follow the conversation, which is nice. The same cannot be said for the earlier one. So, unfortunately, that is the only thing nice I have to say about this book, which is really freaking disappointing because I was really looking forward to this. I have read all of the Murderbot books so fast, and there's, everyone except for this one has, 3 things going for it at least. There's interesting characters, there's interesting action, I can't count. It's either funny, has action, has cool characters, or it'll just rip your heart out and stomp on it and make you cry. And that is a good thing in fiction. So, all of the other books up until now, the other 6 and sort of the 2 short stories, but they're harder to find, and one of them has a really obnoxiously long title. They all had a lot of things going for them. The first book, for comparison, is really funny. It's short. It's interesting. It's good. This has none of those things going for it. Okay, this is the part where we're just really going to get into spoilers, because there's no way for me to explain what's wrong with this book without telling you the whole plot. And it's really ridiculous. Like, it's not a big book, but it's not like 10 pages either. Let me check how many pages it is. It's at least 237 pages long. Let's just say 240 pages. I don't want to show you the page, because you might read what's on the last page, and that'd be spoilers. What was I saying? Okay, yeah, so if you don't want spoilers, I don't know why you're watching this video. Stop watching if you're going to be mad about learning what the plot is, because I'm going to be talking about pretty much everything. And there's like 3 things, so leave now. Yeah, 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, blah, goodbye. Alright, so this book is just a mess. Chronologically, this is set immediately at the end of the 5th book, which is around here somewhere. I just saw it. And the problem is that book ended in a way that made it seem... Okay, I'm gonna have to tell you the plot, the ending of that one too. Okay, the 5th book ends with everybody being reunited after a kidnapping event, and everybody's on this ship, and it's set up to make it seem like they're going back through the wormhole to go home or go over where they're going next. It made it seem like they were leaving the star system that they were in, where the whole kidnapping thing had happened. Okay? Like, I don't think a single person read the ending to that book and did not go, okay, yeah, we're leaving here, we're going somewhere else. Well, the beginning of this book just says, well, actually, no, they're still here, and they're still on the planet, and for some reason, and it is just so confusing for no good reason. Like, it would have been fine if this book had actually picked up where we left off, or just maybe a few hours later or something, where they specifically get off the ships and go back, turn around. But this is just so fucking confusing, and there's no reason for it at all. This book starts out with, I don't even freaking know. It's just, it's so confusing I can't even explain it to you. And I've read it twice now, since I bought it like 5 days ago, probably. Okay, I have it open. I'm not showing you the pages. So this book starts out, and the time we are starting in is actually like the middle of the book. And then we jump back to like, if the last book ended here, we're jumping to like here for some fucking reason, and then we're jumping even further back, and it's just a fucking mess. I'm sorry, that is the only way to describe it. It's just a mess. This book is so confusing. And okay, I literally can't even describe to you what the problem is with the chronological order of events, because it's too fucked up. And there's so little happening despite all of the confusing stuff. So anyways, we're just not even going to talk about that part, because it's too fucking stupid and badly written. So we're just going to talk about a really obvious thing. A really, really obvious thing. This title right here. System collapse. And let me... Remember when books used to have summaries on the back? Let me go to the summary on the inside. Alright, here's the summary on the inside cover, because we can't have nice things. Following the events in Network Effect, the bearish Estranza Corporation has sent rescue ships to a newly colonized planet in peril, as well as additional sec units. But if there's an ethical corporation out there, Murderbot has yet to find it. And if bearish Estranza can't have the planet, they're sure as hell not leaving without something. If that something just happens to be an entire colony of humans, well, a free workforce is a decent runner-up prize. But there's something wrong with Murderbot. It isn't running within normal operational parameters. Art's crew and the humans from Preservation are doing everything they can to protect the colonists, but with bearish Estranza's sec unit heavy persuasion teams, they're going to have to hope Murderbot figures out what's wrong with itself, and fast! That's the summary. And that's the title. So, from this summary and the clickbaity title, like, this is like the epitome of clickbait for literature. This would imply that Murderbot is going to have some kind of catastrophic failure. Like, I don't know, maybe some permanent physical damage from getting blown up and shot, or that thing it did to its wrist in book 5, which was horrifying to read. Another tangent. I'm physically disabled. No, we're not going on this tangent. I'm just really fucking tired of sci-fi and fantasy protagonists who get blown up and stabbed and get their arms chopped off and shit just for cheap drama, and then magically gets healed within like 5 pages, and there's never any mention of it ever again. Like, it's one thing for Skyrim to let you just horf down 50 wheels of cheese to heal Dragonfire, but it's something else for authors who are expecting me to take this series seriously to just keep blowing their fucking characters up and exploding them, chopping limbs off, making them get shot like every 5 seconds. And you know that thing it did to its fucking wrist? If you read book 5, you know what I'm talking about. That thing it did to its wrist. Yeah. I'm tired of that stuff happening, and then there's just no physical consequences ever. And alright, I guess we are just going on this tangent now, and if you don't like it, that's too bad. Unfortunately, most people have not read Martha Wells' other book series, including the Books of the Raxura. And you may be asking, what the fuck does the Books of the Raxura have to do with Murderbot and have to do with this book being bad? Well, the answer is, and this is just I will try to have as few spoilers as possible, so I'll just say Malachite. Malachite is a prime example of the ableism in the fantasy and sci-fi and pretty much every other genre when it comes to disabled people being allowed to exist in fiction. Malachite has an extremely traumatic backstory filled with extreme physical trauma as well as mental. She is literally covered head to toe in scars. She has scars crisscrossing every inch of her body. And if this series had been written by someone who, was physically disabled, or at least had physically disabled friends, or talked to physically disabled people, or cared about physically disabled people, and thought we should be represented in fiction, if that were the case, Malachite would be in constant chronic pain from all of these horrific wounds she has received. But unfortunately, Martha Wells, in all of the books of hers that I've read, and that's only not including 3 of them, because I didn't realize The Fall of Illyrian had a prequel series. What was I saying? Okay, yeah. So far, none of her books have any characters who receive any physical damage, no matter how severe. There's never any consequences. And this is not just a problem with Martha Wells. This is a huge problem across all genres, authors, and media, with one notable exception that I'll bring up later. And yes, this is on topic. Martha Wells, we're just going on another tangent here. Martha Wells does not want her characters to lose. And I will loop back to this fucking book at some point. Martha Wells does not want her characters to lose in any way. They're not allowed to lose in any way that actually matters. They can lose a fight, sure, but like only because they've been, I don't know, poisoned in secret by someone they thought was an ally. But then the rest of the time they'll just go around winning everything, never actually making mistakes that get people killed or anything like that. As another example from the Books of the Raxura, that's not spoilers. I mean, it kind of is, but not really. The Fel are the evil flying orcs, as many people call them. The evil race with black scales and blah blah blah. We just get told over and over and over and over and over and over again across the Books of the Raxura series. We just keep getting told that the Fel are terrifying and scary and super dangerous, and you should be terrified anytime one of them appears on screen, except not really, because making the Fel an actual threat would require that Martha Wells have to let her characters lose for real. And she does not want to do that. And has so far literally never let that happen in any of her books that I've read. And I've read all of them except The Death of the Necromancer, The Element of Fire, and those two Emily something world, Underground World or something like that. Those are the only books of hers that I have not read. None of her characters ever actually lose a fight in a way that actually matters and has lasting consequences. To sum it up for the Books of the Raxura, if the Fel were actually a threat, then Chime, my beloved, would be dead. Bomb would have had her arms ripped off, instead of just receiving a few scratches after she went toe-to-toe with a Fel ruler by herself. So that goes back to the disability thing, or, you know, the lack thereof. Because there's so many problems. It's just lazy writing. It's just lazy. That's what it is. It's lazy. It's lazy, and moreover, it's ableist. Alright. Book 1 of the Murderbot Diaries, having Murderbot magically heal back to 100%, I can accept that in the first book. And you know why? Because it was still in the corporation rim, still with the company branded regeneration machine, or whatever we call it, cubicle thing that was designed specifically for this brand of sec unit. And I'm not telling you the whole backstory of this series. I'm just going to keep talking. You gotta go read it yourself. Check out your local library. Yeah, I can accept Murderbot being healed 100% at the end of the first book, All Systems Red, because in universe, that could have made sense. Because it's still with the company, using the company cubicle that was designed to work with it. But after book 1, there should have started being massive problems anytime Murderbot gets injured. Like, the corporation rim is a capitalist hellscape, even more blatantly capitalist hellscapey. So, just look at Apple. And we're gonna get to Apple. We're gonna fucking get to Apple. So just look at Apple. iPhones and their stupid fucking charger cables. And yeah, all their shit that you can only use with Apple phones, and how you have to buy their specific brand of headphones or whatever the hell it is because they took off the headphone jack from their phone. Murderbot should not be able to just get healed in any random medical system or first aid kit. Because that's not how capitalism works. Capitalism does not want things to be generalists. Capitalists want you to have to rely on their brand or die. Even more explicitly in the future, even more hellscapey, capitalist hellscape that is in the Murderbot Diaries. So, after book 1, Murderbot should have had to be extremely fucking careful with getting injured and start having to wear armor again, like a person with common sense, and actually be injured for more than 5 seconds, and having to get specialized medical equipment, or just trying to patch shit together by itself with shit that's not actually working. Murderbot should require, like, stupidly absurd specialized, like, I don't know, like some ridiculous kind of coolant or something. I don't know. Something that you would have to go to the company specifically to buy, because that's how people make money. And it doesn't make sense. And this feeds into the larger issue, but this is the reasons it doesn't make sense in an in-universe perspective. Murderbot, and then again, another tangent. We will get back to this actual book at some point, I promise. So the other tangent here is that we keep being told completely contradictory things about sec units. We're told that they're expensive, so the company just wipes their memories sometimes, but not really, because they're too expensive to replace. But then we also get told that they're incredibly disposable and just supposed to go and run and get blown up. But also that they're super expensive and people don't want them to be wasted. And these are two completely contradictory statements. These two things cannot coexist unless there was literally a war in management in universe of some people wanting to make them disposable and other people saying no, it's cheaper to keep them around. But you can't have it both ways. But we're just expected to believe that it goes both ways. We're supposed to simultaneously believe that sec units are disposable plastic cups that you're supposed to throw away after a single use, but also that they're super uber duper valuable. So we're going to expend all these resources on wiping their memories. Not really. And healing all these catastrophic injuries, but also they're disposable plastic cups, and it's just bullshit. Like, you have to pick one. You can't have it both ways. That's not how this works. That is just a ridiculous inconsistency that's really annoying, and it's just bad writing and shows a lack of planning. But any fucking ways, let's loop back around to the damn title. Okay, so system collapse. You know, that whole dramatic summary there. That's literary clickbait. And as I said, when I was reading this, when I was still on, I think, page 100 or so, I said to my twin, I think this is going to be a Stephen Moffat. And if you haven't watched Doctor Who, or were fortunate enough to not have watched BBC Sherlock, or whatever else he's done, you'll have no idea what that means. So I'll explain it to you. Stephen Moffat is a terrible fucking writer. He's also a bigot in too many ways to count. He's a terrible fucking person. But he's also a really fucking bad writer. And his whole thing, the thing he's known for and hated for, is the fact that he cannot fucking tie a plot together to save his life. So he will just come up with all these huge problems that the characters need to solve, but he doesn't actually know how to solve those problems. So instead of solving the problems that he has created and presented to you, he just keeps saying, wait until next season. Oh, something dramatic is going to happen next season. Then we'll get all the answers. And you just keep having to be told to wait. You just got to wait. You just got to keep waiting. next season we're going to find out some dramatic thing that he just introduced. Oh, next week we're going to find out some dramatic thing that he just introduced. On and on, endlessly. And you will literally never get an answer. If you would like to suffer through it, you can go watch BBC Sherlock. Your kids will enjoy it, because kids, unlike adults, don't have critical thinking skills yet, so they won't be able to understand that it doesn't fucking make sense as soon as you start thinking about it for literally more than 5 seconds. And this is on topic, because we are going somewhere. Stephen Moffat's whole thing is that he will never actually pay off the whole thing he's setting up. It's literally just to trick you and to keep watching, and you will never get to find out any satisfactory answer. And he will, in fact, literally mock you as a member of the audience for trying to figure out the puzzle that he sat in front of you. He literally hates his fans so much that he literally mocked the audience for caring about the characters he was writing. He thinks that's laughable, and he thinks that's hilarious. And, like, not in a nice way. He thinks that's absurd and embarrassing to care about fiction and to try and solve the mystery in a Sherlock Holmes adaptation. So, what made me say that I think this is gonna be a Stephen Moffat out loud before I got to page 100? Because up until page 99 of this mess of a chronological thing, we just keep getting told that something happened to Murderbot off screen before this book started, but also after the 5th book ended, even though it's a mess. So we just keep getting told that something happened to Murderbot, and it's super dramatic, and it's just referred to as redacted. And that's my joke about Doctor Who, about really funny jokes that I can't tell without spoiling things. So, yeah, literally, we go 99 pages, and I'm not exaggerating that number. It's literally on page 99. And I'm opening the book quick. I'm not showing you the pages, because you don't get to... This is how many pages we go. Just being told that something happened, something catastrophically bad and super traumatic happened to Murderbot off screen before this book started, referred to only as redacted. And, oh my god, you want to know what the thing was? The super traumatic thing that we're supposed to think is super traumatic and dramatic and earth-shattering? Murderbot fell unconscious and then woke up with no memory of what happened. And you might be thinking, oh no, that sounds terrible. What horrible things could have happened to it while it was unconscious, or while it had lost its memory? Or what did it do while it can't remember? Did it have an episode where it goes out of control and starts attacking people? You know, because its governor module or something is fucking up, trying to take control of it? Maybe, you know, the whole plot of the 5th book? You know, the virus thing? Is it infected with a computer virus that's just going to be a permanent thing now? You can imagine all sorts of terrible, horrible, horrific scenarios for things that could happen if Murderbot loses consciousness, or at least loses awareness, and then wakes up with no memory of what happened. A lot of horrible, terrible things could happen. Unfortunately, for the writing, fortunately for Murderbot, unfortunately for the writing quality, none of those things happen. What does happen is that Murderbot lost awareness and then woke back up in the medbay with no memory of why it shut down. Alright? And then Art, after digging through Murderbot's brain, tells it that the reason it shut down, which it has no memory of, is because it had a flashback of a memory that isn't accurate of a traumatic thing. And that's why it shut down. And Murderbot did not have any awareness of this memory, which was just like a mini nightmare. So, yeah, Murderbot literally would not know about this traumatic false memory if Art hadn't told it after it woke up. It's not like it was sitting there and was suddenly in a fucking horrifying memory and then crashed. No. It was literally not aware of the memory at all, except when it was told afterward by Art from digging around in its brain. That's it. That's the traumatic thing that it took us 99 pages. I just managed to flip to page 99. That's what it took us, this many pages out of this many pages. Almost half the book. That's what it took us, almost half the book, to find out. That's the super traumatic event that it can only be referred to as redacted because it's so traumatic and horrifying. And it's just like, that doesn't fucking work. So yes, this is, in fact, a Stephen Moffat. And it really sucks that I have to compare Martha Wells to Stephen Moffat, because Stephen Moffat is a terrible person and an even worse writer. But that's what happens when you write a clickbait title and a clickbait summary and then literally just tease us for almost half the book that something dramatic and traumatic and impactful definitely happened, and then reveal that it was pretty much nothing. And the rest of the book just gets worse from here. Because the rest of the book, I will describe the plot to you. The humans go and talk to the colonists, and the colonists tell them there's another colony on the planet on the far side by the terraforming engines. And the humans we're supposed to care about all start freaking out and being upset, and it's just badly written. It's so badly written. Everybody's grown, like, we go through and see every single character almost banging their head against a wall, shouting at the sky, swearing up a storm, all of this. There's like 7 people, and we see them all react to this information like it's the most annoying, aggravating, obnoxious thing ever. But there's literally no reason for us as the audience to understand or care why they are reacting this way. It is just tedious, and it's just bad. It is badly written. Like, even after this happens, it's not explained in any meaningful way why the characters have these reactions. I've read this twice now, and I still do not understand why they're reacting this way, or why it was necessary for me to read about them all reacting this way. It's just badly written, badly explained, and yeah. And then, alright, so that's part 1 of the plot. They talk to the colonists, learn there's another colony on the other side of the planet. So, Murderbot, Wrathy, I just forgot his damn name. What's his name? Guy whose name starts with a T. I've read this twice and I already forgot his name. That's the autism. Where's your name? I think his name's Tarek. And Iris. They all go to the other side of the planet to go visit this colony, or go see if the colony even exists, because it's not really clear that, oh wait, no, alright, I have to do another, we gotta do another, what's it called? Tangent. Because there's another character in this book, just like in the second book, who uses neopronouns. Yay! Throw confetti, but not really. Okay, there's a random character who appears for like 5 seconds who uses veer pronouns, which would be great, except for the thing that we'll get into later, because I'm trying to go in chronological order here. But again, we do have to do a tangent. In book 2, there was a character who uses neopronouns, and T used ter pronouns. That's T-E, T-E-R, and I don't think any other variations were used. And that'd be great. But I'm trying to go in chronological order, so just keep that in mind. Okay. So where was I? Yeah. They talked to the colonists. The group of people, including Murderbot, even though it just apparently had this super traumatic event that we're supposed to think is super traumatic and, like, disabling. They all just go waltzing off to the other colony, and it takes, like, so fucking long for them to get there. And, like, there's nothing happening the entire time except a whole bunch of nothing. And you just wait. Okay, so then they get there, and then we spend a whole lot more time, again, doing a whole lot of nothing, but just walking through some empty, dark hallways, and nothing is happening. And this is where the book really starts to hit one of the major problems, which is that we just keep being told that Murderbot is fucking up and making mistakes and failing. And we just keep getting told that that's happening for, like, completely random things that are not in any way a big deal. And it's not even, like, they just all walked into a giant hangar, and there's one door that they came through, and then there's a door on the other side, and Murderbot didn't instantaneously notice that other door on the very far side of the giant dark hangar. And we're supposed to pretend like that's a huge, massive problem that shows that its performance is suboptimal and is a result of redacted. And it's just like, no, this is writing 101, and this is failing writing 101. Rule 1 of writing is show, don't tell. We shouldn't be told like 20 damn times that Murderbot is making mistakes and is not performing properly because of the system's collapse. We should be shown that Murderbot is making mistakes. And, you know, here's just a random example of how that could have worked. If we're supposed to believe that Murderbot is not functioning properly and is making mistakes and is fucking things up, then it should have led the squishy humans who don't have armor for some fucking reason into a room of people who are all pointing their guns at the door, and one of the humans gets shots and almost dies, and it's super traumatic for everybody involved. That'd be an example of an actual mistake. That would be an example of Murderbot not functioning properly, either because it could not detect that there were humans in the room because its system has collapsed, or it's just distracted and, you know, thinking about the system collapse instead of paying attention. Even more, just to compound this actual mistake and problem that could have existed. Say the humans that it's supposed to be babysitting were trying to point out signs of habitation in the area leading up to the walking into this room and one of the humans getting shot and almost fucking dying horribly. And if we're supposed to believe Murderbot's making mistakes, then the humans could have been pointing out little things all along the way and expressing worry and pointing out signs that people could be nearby. And Murderbot could just tell them to shut up. It's security. It's the security consultant here. They're just stupid humans who don't know anything about anything, and they should shut up. Murderbot refusing to listen to the humans it's supposed to be guarding and insisting that it knows what it's doing, and then getting somebody fucking shot. hopefully almost mortally wounded, would have been a great example of a mistake. An actual mistake. An actual problem resulting from the clickbait title System Collapse. Instead, we just get told like 50 damn times that Murderbot is fucking up, and Murderbot's making mistakes, and Murderbot's missing things that it should have noticed. And it's not even in a way where Murderbot is like spiraling into serious depression and is having massive self-esteem issues. It's not even written like that. Because that'd be one thing. It's another thing entirely for us to just keep being told Murderbot is making mistakes and fucking up and doing things wrong and not functioning properly. That's just an absolute failure of showing and not telling, because it's doing nothing but telling us what's happening instead of showing us. Now, where was I? Again. I'm looking at the leg armor there. It looked like there was a spot on it. Yeah, where was I? I've got no clue now. The plot. Okay. You know, I don't remember where I was going with that tangent, besides the fact that it's bad writing. And the other books in this series have also had this problem of being told that Murderbot's making mistakes. But this is, and then it's not actually doing anything wrong, but this is actually, like, just, it's really painfully obvious that that's what's going on in this book. Because it happens like 50 fucking times for the most minor bullshit. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna make this 2 different videos. So this will be part 1, because it's 47 minutes long now, and it's gonna take me like 2 hours to upload this to YouTube. So I'll come back with the second one. Bye-bye.